We're going to see Crybaby, the underdog for this match. Hold up a minute. Soldier, thank you very much. Soldier especially, I should mention that the Stay-at-Home Cup is a charity event. All Twitch subscriptions and bits received will go towards charity. Sacred Hearts in San Jose, they provide homeless assistance for people affected by COVID-19. But as I was saying, Crybaby, the underdog for tonight, playing in the color pink. To the north, map is Manchuria. He is the Aztec civilization. And we have a duolckrad. He's in the color green, playing as Germany to the southwest of the map. Southwest. He's actually from the northwest of the United States. I don't know why I felt like pointing that out, but whenever I think of West, it instilled in me pride for my regional heritage. California. Duolcrad's also from California. But like I was saying, Crybaby is a player from China, as far as I know. At least I know he's a part of the Chinese community. And what I really like about the Chinese players, there's a few of them, like a handful of Chinese players who participate in the ESOC tournaments. They always come up with, inventive, off-kilter strategies. Their metagame is a little bit different. It's a little bit insular, that community. They usually play amongst themselves, I figure for time zone reasons, connection reasons. So they kind of develop their own little metagame. And when it's applied to ESOC tournaments, it's really interesting. One of the most prominent Chinese players being For Justice, a really strong player in the ESOC Premier League. And so Crybaby, also from that community, already off the bat, a little bit interesting. I mean, he's got a fire pit. It's a little bit forward, but he used the warrior priest to scout out. And if we 1, 2, 3, like magic, 5 yaks, 5 yaks herded in by that warrior priest, and 2 herded in by the explorer. Duolcrad, on the other hand, has got a single yak. Single yak to 7. This is what I'm talking about. This is like the it's and he's killing the yak. This is prime what I'm talking about. I'm so happy. He got 7 yaks to start off with, killed every single one to get that fast age up. It's not actually gonna be that fast, I figure. I mean, it's gonna queue up. See right now, is he queued up right now? Probably. At the earliest, his age up time is going to be 3 minutes and 20 seconds if he's going with the age up fast option, which I'm not entirely sure if he is. Doesn't seem like he is, just looking at that progress bar, so it's probably going to be 2 warrior hut age up, but it was pretty early, 2 minutes 50 seconds, that's a decent age up time. And he aged up 15 villagers. Anyway, as I was saying, I mean, just like, I don't exactly know how to phrase it, but I'm entertained. That's not something you see every day, as somebody utilizing the warrior priest as Aztec to go around the map and scout out all of the yaks on the map. And that's kind of what you see, these just thinking outside the box plays from the Chinese community players, and that's something I really like about Crybaby, one aspect of his play that I'm really interested in. On the other hand, we have Duolcrad playing Germany, one of his main civilizations. And take a look at the treasures. I mean, even a lot of it went to the favor of Crybaby. Look at that. El Guapo's feed bag, which reduces cavalry training time by 5%. I think that's only going to affect the coyote runners. Not the biggest deal, but I mean, that's one of the bigger treasures to pick up on the map. One of the more heavily guarded ones is what I mean. It's got 75 food, 30 XP, 30 coin. Duolcrad, on the other hand, only a 40 wood treasure. So I'm not sure if he's got any other prospects out around the map. 85 wood we can see there. Just started chopping wood. Oh no, he's already got his trading post. Yeah, it would be a really late first trading post if it was just being constructed now. But 85 wood is a nice pickup either way. Helps to get those market upgrades. Already got hunting dogs, gang saw in progress. Gang saw a little bit interesting. I'm not sure that it's actually all that relevant because I don't think Duolcrad is going to be gathering wood for that much longer, considering he's got basically 8 villagers on coin at the moment. So I figure he's probably gonna go maybe a Yulin start. Or Ulin, I suppose. I know the German speakers would have my neck if I ever said Yulin to them in person. I apologize. This is my California tongue, my California parlance. I'm not really good at saying Ulin. I mean, that's such a difficult thing to say, at least over and over again. But Yulin, that's just so much easier for my tongue to spit out. So that's why I say it, I suppose. Either way, yeah, starting with stable against 2 War Hut Aztec. Uh, this is kind of an instance where, you know, you have this thing, it's a concept in Age of Empires 3 called a bot. What a bot is, the definition of a bot, is someone who does a build order and never deviates from it in the face of direct counterplay, direct uncounterplay, you know, playing into one's hands. The bot will always do his build order. And right here, we can see duolckrad is a semi-FF 5 Yulin Germany bot. So whether or not this 5 Yulin strategy from duolckrad will be efficacious will be yet to be seen, because we see Crybaby is going for a pretty unique rush. 600 coin first in Age 2, followed by 10 Mace Walton to get a range backing, and that is a lot of pikes. And duolckrad does not have a lot of ways of dealing with that, besides 1, the 8 Expo shipment, 2, Town Center Fire, and 3, Minutemen. Besides that, these Yulins aren't going to do all that well against these pikemen. In fact, Crybaby not at all first going for these houses, which, you know, if I were, I might recommend that. However, we can immediately see him going for the town center directly. Some Pumas fighting some Ulins, splitting off a few more Pumas. Minutemen now being called, and this is like crunch time, I suppose. This is really dangerous. The town center at very, very low HP, but the Minutemen are putting in a lot of work, killing off these Puma spearmen. Now there's only 1 Yulin left alive, and it's low HP, but the mass of the Aztec player has been melted quite a bit, and there's 9 Mace Walton coming in the back. I wish that were 6 Puma to finish the job and siege this town center. Now duolckrad has no more resources in bank to queue any more units, so the only card he has left to play is an 8 Expo shipment. He sent 700 wood, but there's 450 wood at the top of this base, unable to be gathered. What I'd like to see from duolckrad is popping out the settler wagons to, you know, club down these Miss Walton. And there you go, another batch of pikemen coming in, and there's really not 3 doppelsaunders, and this could be so big if Crybaby doesn't notice. Oh no! Oh no! If the Miss Walton go down, there's not much to fight against these doppelsaunders. The Puma Spearmen won't do all that well. I mean, you had 7 surrounding a single doppelsaunder there. I mean, they would have done pretty okay there. Instead, yeah, just taking the damage, accepting that, you know, he's gonna lose a lot there, but he has to finish off the job, get that town center. Unfortunately, I don't know how big it's gonna be unless the explorer of the German player is out elsewhere around the map. I'm not sure where it is, actually. But, I mean, he's got exactly 500 wood. 450 wood was on the floor, so he can build another town center directly. However, more pikemen coming in, and the only unit that duolckrad can train is Ulins. So as soon as these doppelsaunders go down, there's nothing that duolckrad can do. He has to build a barracks, but that's going to take a hot minute. A hot minute before he can pop out anything to counter these Puma Spearmen. Now fighting the settler wagons with the Puma Spearmen, I wouldn't really recommend that. I'd rather go for the houses first, at least. Or, you know, just harass the villagers rather than the settler wagons. Either way, gonna get one of them down. Okay, I mean, it's a best of 3. 1 point on the board. For Crybaby. This is what I'm talking about, baby. 600 coin, 10 Mace Walton rush against a Germany bot, duolckrad, dropping a game even as the favored player. That's exactly what you want to see on a Friday night. Game 2, it is actually going to be duolckrad's pick of the map. duolckrad, a former Second Chance Tournament champion. Now, the Second Chance Tournament was an older style tournament that we used to do for our major tournaments. Oops, that's the wrong copy paste. Either way, they've already chosen the map. So Crybaby has locked Brits, and it'll be duolcrad's opportunity to counterpick. But as I was saying, duolcrad is a former Second Chance Tournament champion. Second Chance Tournament used to be something we did supplementary to our major tournaments. Basically, I think it kind of differed between seasonal championships, but the gist of it is any player who was eliminated before the round of 32, pardon me, would be allowed to sign up for another tournament. And that would be, all the players that signed up for that, they would be around the lieutenant colonel and below skill level. And what that did is it just, provided a much more level field for those up-and-coming players who aren't quite at the top level, those who don't expect to win a seasonal championship. And duolcrad won the very first Second Chance Tournament. Now we rather run concurrent lower brackets as we are the Stay-at-Home Cup. We have a lower bracket and upper bracket, and they're played at the same time. And this is the first round of the round of 64 of our lower bracket, and our former champion is one game away from being eliminated. From rags to riches to rags again. Might be the story for duolcrad here. And he's locked Portuguese, his counter civilization against Crybaby. The map is Ceylon? Ceylon. Ceylon. Ceylon? Ceylon? Frankly, I should use Google Translate to find out the correct pronunciation, but for the time being, we're just gonna play the lottery and call it Ceylon. Oh, and I see Mini Molten chat. There's something else to mention is that duolcrad is the reigning champion of the ESOC Premier League. He led a team, a mixed skill level group, all ranked between lieutenant colonel to I think major general. Very, very strong players. He was the team leader. He paired matchups, led the drills for the team. So by no means a slouch when it comes to coaching other teams. Coaching other players and leading a team. But when it comes to playing AoE3 himself, oh, that's gold, baby. That's just gold. I think I said at the beginning of the cast that duolcrad was the favorite player going into this match. Usually, even at the lowest ranked, maybe a PR26 captain. But today, getting ousted by Crybaby, who is currently ranked PR24, first lieutenant. But I love it. I love it from Crybaby. We saw maybe not an inventive strategy, as a pikeman rush, but it utilized 600 coin, which, you don't really usually see a build order. And I think he executed on it well. He killed those yaks to expedite his age up. He started queuing at 2 minutes 50 seconds, which was a little bit earlier than a standard age up time for Aztecs there. So his execution was good, and the strategy was good. He probably studied duolcrad's playstyle. No, he is an absolute bot, does not deviate from the build order, and accordingly he just swept him, destroyed the town center at the 8-minute mark. I like what I saw from Crybaby. duolcrad, on the other hand, it's a different game. The past is behind us. It's game 2. Map is Ceylon. It is match point for Crybaby. Winning this game advances him to the round of 32. duolcrad will have to win this game and the next one on Crybaby's map, if it goes to that, in order to win the series. Crybaby, we see, starting off with an 80 wood treasure guarded by, assumedly, 2 tigers. One is crack shot, and now being crept on that last tiger. Taking a little bit of damage. I think he may have taken a little bit more damage, if I'm not mistaken. He did pick up a 35 food treasure. Maybe he took that without utilizing his crack shot, saving the crack shot. Yeah, actually, for sure. As it's before 2 minute mark, so there's only one crack shot that explorer will utilize. So that's why the damage. I thought that the explorer had taken a little bit more damage than he should have, creeping a 2 tiger treasure. That's what I was trying to point out, but it may not be the case. He may have just gone for 2 treasures, crept 2 treasures, and that's why he took a little additional damage. Duolckrad, on the other hand, trying to creep a 90 food treasure and getting absolutely nothing out of it, didn't even kill a single monitor lizard, and instead took 160 damage. This is what you expect of former champion. Crybaby being very active with his granted catamaran, scouting out the rest of the coast. We actually did see that. Oh wait, this is duolckrad. My bad. Yes, so duolckrad being very active, scouting out the coast. I really like this because it's going to make macroing a potential sea boom, a likely sea boom, all the more easy. From Crybaby, on the other hand, we see schooners first, advanced dock second. Unfortunately, advanced dock, it used to, this is something that it used to do, but it used to expedite the, you can see, the warship changes train points by minus 33%. It used to do that for fishing ships too. So when you paired advanced dock with schooners, you got ultra fast fishing boats. It doesn't do that anymore. You can see it only affects warships, but that's kind of interesting. Either way, advanced dock is a card that, you know, when you garrison fishing boats in the dock, it gives it a ranged attack, and what that advanced dock card does is it boosts that attack and makes pretty much warships trying to destroy a dock nigh impossible, because that dock deals so much damage to the warships. Crybaby actually has been a little bit lazy with his catamaran, it seems. I think he only used it to ferry across his explorer and hasn't been using it to gather, which is one thing that it can do. I mean, at least if not gather, you would just waypoint it around the map and scout a little bit, but it's alright. A little bit of explorer combat going on over here, actually much to the favor of duolckrad. I wish he was a little bit better macroed in order to kill that explorer, which he definitely easily could have done. But actually now utilizing this Gurkha to potentially kill a settler, and that could, pardon me, be a big deal. After all, you know, British having those those settlers strewn out across the islands to build manors and, you know, grant map control for British players. Very important. So by curtailing that, by harassing it with that Gurkha, it's a good play. In fact, he might lose it if he's not careful. 16 range damage now, having hit Colonial Age. Actually, for sure. Oh, there you go. Yeah, one settler dead. And like I said, that's really actually going to hurt Crybaby's manor boom a lot. We can see he hasn't even built another manor on the island besides that starting one. But now kind of getting up on that sea boom. Likewise for duolckrad. Shipping eco theory first. It's a bit curious, actually. I wonder when that third shipment's going to come in. I think that third shipment, okay, nice. 700 wood already on the floor, and that fourth shipment actually going to be approaching soon. And I'd figure the same for Crybaby. I mean, he has to have the same amount of XP, so where's that 700 wood, baby? Oh, one caravel? Wait. You know, in the Colonial Age, there is a 2 Garavel shipment, and I do know that Crybaby was checking his deck before locking into this match, so a little bit of a sloppy job there, but still choosing to send it? I mean, if you knew you made a mistake by putting 1 Caravel in your deck instead of 2 Caravel, you'd figure you'd just go for the higher value shipment outright. So this is some unorthodox play. And unlike in Game 1, I'm not too big a fan of this particular. Crybaby's second, a little bit of wood. I really wish it were 700 wood, you know, so he could jumpstart that boom. Every element of his boom involves wood, whether it's the fishing boats or the manors. So by shipping one caravel, which isn't going to be of immediate use at all, in fact, it's going to... Yeah, a little bit too creative there. A duolckrad 700 wood shipped, got a barracks and an outpost. An outpost, in fact, to supplement this town center. So he's got excellent defensive posturing. This is a very difficult position for Crybaby to push. Now training another caravel, that's a huge investment from Crybaby. 300 wood, 100 coin, and a shipment. Now he has killed 2 fishing boats, so that's the equivalent of 100 wood. But investing 800 resources, more than 800 resources, this is about 1100 resources, because the shipment could have been 700 wood, and then he trained 400 resources on another caravel. So 1100 resources in the early game to kill 100 wood worth of stuff. I just think it's the wrong order of operations from Crybaby. And I think his boom, stifling his boom for that is going to be extremely, put him very, very far behind. 700 wood coming out for duolckrad. Now transitioning some villagers over to coin so he can macro for the age up and go to fortress age. And Crybaby is really, really far behind. Look at that recalc. Just infinitely behind. And in fact, going double down on this this build order with it. It improved warships. He is training more Catamaran, and those Catamaran are pretty strong. They were buffed on the ESOC patch. They do 50 damage to other ships, and they have decent hit points too, I guess. But I really don't know how much can be accomplished here. Rendering plant in for duolckrad, so no 2 caravels gonna come out. Gonna lose a dock. In fact, not much damage dealt, so that's 300 wood on the board. 300 wood destroyed for Crybaby. Again, this is a huge investment. I don't know that it's entirely worth it. Gonna deny the outpost, okay, but gonna lose a catamaran. Crybaby also built the Zen Temple on the main island. That is now getting sieged down by duolcrad's musketeers. But now taking down some of the musketeers from the coast. At least going to force them to reposition, but I think they can reposition to get out of range of the warships and continue to siege down that Zen Temple. Finally, Crybaby sending 700 wood. But now, at this point, he is more than 10 villagers behind. And even though, he has 3 docks, so 3 dock boom, that could be working for him. Getting his barracks out now, but no more villagers on the mainland to, build more manors. I don't like this boom. I don't like this boom from Crybaby. I don't think he has boomed anywhere near as hard as he could. I think this commitment to the warships early is going to actually leave him so far behind because he's accomplished so little. And now duolckrad is taking the economic lead, and once boards get the economic lead, it's hard to get it back. duolckrad is totally comfortable. 2 outposts in a town center, as well as 2 side-by-side docks to be garrisoned in an emergency. This is a very difficult position for Crybaby to push. And so basically, duolckrad can continue on with his fish boom unabated. duolckrad now scouting out around the map with his musketeers. Not finding anything worth value because nothing worth value has been constructed. In fact, strictly committing to this no infrastructure built, Crybaby is now popped. Training longbow, okay, but no more manor houses? I'm a little bit curious, a little bit sloppy there. Now utilizing his armada, 2 caravels and 5 catamarans. Gonna siege the market from the coast, which is pretty nice, actually. That's a nice little pickup. Oh, there was an outpost going down. Oh, but 3 caravels popping for duolckrad. Good way to utilize his extra wood. But by now, duolckrad actually has some pretty good upgrades for himself. At the very least, he's got improved warships. He's taken down 2 caravels of the British player. Only lost 1. As well, going to take some pot shots on the escaping catamaran. A good trade for duolckrad. I mean, he didn't even lose the market. Lost a single caravel, killed 2 caravels, and pushed back this aggressive fleet. Also killed a catamaran. Finally, building a few more manors, but not as many as he could. I mean, I'd like to just see him sink all of those resources, all of that wood into more manors. Because the British player is just not going to win from an economic deficit. I mean, Brits' advantage is that they have a stronger economy in the early game. But pretty much at no point was Crybaby ahead, besides maybe the first 4 minutes. After that, though, it slipped to the control of the Portuguese player. And now, as hard as Crybaby tries, duolckrad is the one to set the tempo. You can see 46 villagers to 37, and roughly equal fishing boat counts. However, working in the back, actually, both players do have rendering plant, or if they have any additional upgrades. Crybaby with the long lines upgrade, that's really nice. duolckrad just with gill nets. Gill nets is a 15% fishing upgrade. Long line is a 30% upgrade, if I'm not mistaken. So gill nets and long lines, that's a 45% upgrade plus rendering plant, that's an additional 30%. Oh, and fish market, which, if I'm not mistaken, is an additional 25%. Yeah, so, wow. 55% from cards, 45% from, jeez, wow. 45% from market. Sorry, the dock upgrades. If I'm not mistaken, that's strictly a 100% upgrade. So I think the base rate for a fishing boat on a whale is 0.5 coin per second. Put that in perspective, a villager on a coin mine is 0.6. With all these upgrades, these fishing boats are gathering 1 gold per second from these whales. So 4 gold per second with 4 fishing boats on a whale. There's a fight going on. Crybaby's navy getting absolutely crushed. Anyway, back to that point. A bank is 2.75 coin per second. But these heavily upgraded fishing boats are 4 coin per second. I thought that was of note. In other news, Crybaby's getting completely crushed. He pretty much has no chance at this stage of the game. Very far behind economically, down in age, 70 score down. Grenadiers now, quote, quote, putting in some work. They might kill 1 outpost before getting handily taken down by the upgraded warships of duolckrad. Crybaby does not have a ghost of a chance remaining in this game. And it's better. Actually, I mean, this is something you could do. It's a strategy. You've lost the game. You're Crybaby. You know you've lost the game. But you don't resign. Now, why would you do that? The why would be because it gives you more time to strategize going into game 3. Whereas the opponent has to utilize brain cells in order to finish out the game and not choke it. Crybaby already knows he's lost it. So his mind is in the future. Preparing and organizing a strategy to become victorious in game 3. But frankly, game 2 is completely lost. Crybaby has no chance from henceforth. 15 villagers down, an age down. Crybaby trying to catch up, but soon enough, duolcrad's going to be in the industrial age as well. The infrastructure and production from Crybaby. I mean, he has no mass at this point. He's got a barracks and artillery foundry, okay, but he has no mass. He needs like at least 2 more barracks to get anything accomplished. Now, he will be going to the industrial age himself as well. I don't think it's going to be enough. Frankly, I don't think it's going to be enough. In fact, veteran Hussar is already out on the field from dual-crad, and I do in fact like that. In fact, I'd like if he just utilized them right away. If not to directly, you know, attack the main base, the main area where Crybaby's villagers are. At least to scout around the other sides. I'm taking a big treasure, 380 XP. That's alright, I guess. Might lose 1 husk for it. Gonna come out clean. And a town center being constructed at the top. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Maybe he lost the covered wagon in a caravel that was fighting. Perhaps that's the case. I wasn't privy to it, unfortunately, but I don't think it's that big a deal. duolckrad actually has around a 45 to 50 second lead going into the industrial age on Crybaby. Now 100 point lead as well. Two culverins trained by Crybaby. And those are really powerful anti-ship cannons, but they don't do a lot else. They're also good against artillery, but they're not particularly good against buildings, and siege is a pretty important thing to have. You know, you have a lot of infrastructure here for duolckrad to worked over. And some dragoons coming out, and pretty much any unit that isn't an artillery piece or a warship is going to do well against these culverins. Now we do see an engagement going on, but those culverins were very quickly picked off. 3 frigates on the field for duolckrad. Only 1 for Crybaby. Supplemented by some catamarans, but they aren't going to do jack compared to these 3 upgraded frigates, now with armor plating as well. Oof. Some falconets trained, but a big waste of resources, every single one taken down there. And Crybaby's quick to realize it. So we do see our series tied 1-1. Once I add a chicken Ceylon, England. Pretty spicy. Imagine so, it sounds very tasty though. So Crybaby really stifling his own economic potential. Never was ahead. Is there a warship count? Don't believe so. Military unit count, I suppose. I believe they count as military units. And this was when 5 musketeers popped. But yeah, I mean, for all those warships that he had, wasn't really able to do much with them. Was never ahead economically, and that's kind of the story. Not much more to look at there. So, going into match point game 3, match point for both players, I should. Still a wrong copy paste, and I imagine the players already know the civilizations, but just for you viewers' sakes. Crybaby's choice is Guatemala, Iowa, and Himalayas Upper. And then duolckrad will be the one to select first. duolckrad picking another one of his main civilizations. We saw Germany in game 1, that's one of duolcrad's favorite civilizations. One of his other main civilizations is Japan. And Crybaby countering with the Japan Mirror on Himalaya's Upper, a classic, really. A very good RE map, so, one that's been in the game since its inception, 2007. And Japan Mirror is definitely a matchup I know duolckrad is happy with. I figure both players are happy. Obviously, Crybaby was the one to counterpick there, so he's probably feeling comfortable enough in a Japan Mirror. But I know from first-hand experience with duolckrad, he really does enjoy this matchup. And it can be a pretty fun matchup. It can be pretty dynamic. And even when it's not dynamic, it's still pretty much always dynamic. It's kind of like a Brit mirror, but instead of manors producing additional villagers, you have shrines, so you have different objective points all around the map. So it's pretty much like the micro of a British mirror, Ashi on Ashi, etc. But with added objectives everywhere around the map. And it's not even always Ashi versus Ashi. Sometimes it's Yumi archers as well. Sometimes it's fast industrials. So even a lot more dynamic than a British mirror. This is a very strange spawn of Himalaya's Upper. I'm not quite sure who did the redesign, but either way, we have a very close coin mine. You really need to check the resources here. I mean, it's a Japan mirror, thankfully. Jeez. But I just need to be sure. Seems alright. I mean, this coin mine is pretty far compared to duolckrad. But on the other hand, Crybaby also has an easy third mine, whereas duolckrad has to extend out pretty far. Then again, it is a Japan mirror. Then again, I also don't think that second coin mine placement is going to be all too problematic. By then, you should be pretty comfortable extending out. I would figure. Just kind of wall that. It's alright. But besides that, I guess to look at the hunts, I mean, they're hunts as Japan, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. But this is game 3 in our best of 3 series. Match point for both duolckrad and Crybaby. Duolckrad locked the Japanese civilization. He's playing green to the north. And to the south, Indie Pink, we have Crybaby counter-cived with Japan. Map was Crybaby's choice. Himalaya's Upper, a classic. But it seems so far a lot of the yaks... Okay, no, we've actually got an even split on the yaks. duolckrad picking up 6, as well Crybaby picking up 6 too. See if there's any other yaks around the map. No, but it actually seems like that's a perfectly even split. Every single yak has been picked up at this point. No more yaks on the map. And now there are 4 that need to be corralled to Crybaby's town center, so there is still the opportunity for duolckrad to steal those if Crybaby isn't too keen. But for better or for worse, most likely these 6 yaks are going to be safe in Crybaby's base at some point. Also finding another 80 wood treasure. He found a pretty good treasure to start off with, 75 food. duolckrad still trying to locate next big pick. And he does see this 80 coin treasure. I wonder if he's going to intentionally go for it. Going to continue scouting. There's 45 coin over there. 80 food right there. So if you were to pick that up, that would be a really nice one to get. But gonna immediately go for 45 coin to start with. On the other hand, Crybaby, he hasn't gone for it right at this moment, but I think he will once those stuns cool down. Queue those up. In fact, look at this. Crybaby, we see a pretty early age up. Aging up, seems like with the Teshogu Shrine. Although that could be the Torii Gates. We'll have to wait for it to construct a little bit longer before we know for sure. But he queued up quite early. I think it was at the around 2 minutes 55 seconds. duolckrad, on the other hand, about 3 minutes 8 seconds. So Crybaby going to be up at least 10 seconds sooner. Actually, maybe not 10 seconds sooner. Probably up at around the same time, because duolcrad's using 1 villager to construct it, whereas Crybaby isn't. The 80 wood treasure was stolen by duolckrad, so really nice for him. have some mutual shrine wars on a certain hunt. Oh, still gotta corral back these yaks. It has to be very careful, actually. Might even just construct more shrines at this location. And both players going for Kami. Heavenly Kami, so not gonna be anything too aggressive from either player. Probably both going to just Shrine Boom as normal. Get the maximum economy that they possibly can, and then massing up powerful Japanese units. Ooh, in fact, now 3 villagers on the Wonder for Crybaby. Definitely going to get that Wonder up a lot sooner. Probably worth it to, you know, have some villagers constructing this Wonder, considering it does grant a trickle as soon as you're up. This Tashogyu Shrine, now that it's got some animals next to it. 0.8 wood gather rate. That's basically 1.5 villagers. So the sooner you have this up, the more resources you get. That trickle, which kind of offsets the villager seconds lost constructing it. So it's not as bad a play as some might think. Either way, Crybaby constructing more shrines around the map. Same for duolckrad, now at 100 shrine population to Crybaby, going on 80. So duolckrad a little bit ahead, although his shrines are towards the middle of the map, which makes them a little bit easier to siege going into the middle portion of the game. This is a direct path for Crybaby if Crybaby wants to aggress on the town center. So these being in the immediate line of fire, and also so closely packed, isn't necessarily good for duolcrad. Whereas, you know, Crybaby with these shrines on the outer portions of the map is going to take a lot more time for duolcrad to send units to go and siege those. Seven Bestiero out for Crybaby. Oh, we're in a 300 export first, which is extremely curious. Ooh, Daimyo as well. This is what I'm talking about. Chinese community, baby. Thinking outside the box in the Japan mirror. Now, is it necessarily going to be good? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not. He's definitely going to have to make, you know, as soon as this Daimyo gets into range of these Bestieros, it's going to be revealed that he went for a very aggressive build order. And that's going to single to duolcrad that he can cut economy from this point. Just focus on pumping out units in order to hold this extremely aggressive start from Crybaby that is eventually going to petter out with a weaker economy behind it. But just sieging the shrine, I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of it. duolcrad now quite a ways ahead. You look at the recalc and he's 5 villagers ahead. 5 villager equivalent. 5 Naganada is trained as well. Oh, but revealing them, and you know, if duolcrad is aware, he might have even seen that aura and realized that there is a daimyo. I'm curious if he did, but I honestly don't think he saw that. Either way, it's very strange. That's all I can say. It's particularly strange because Crybaby really isn't making any offensive moves. I mean, yeah, he's taking down some shrines, but that's not the most pressure. I mean, if there were units in duolcrad's base garrisoning up 20 villagers, that would be a problem for duolcrad. But losing a single shrine, losing a second shrine, I mean, that's not the biggest deal, considering he's also elsewhere out on the map sieging some of these shrines. Oh, but duolcrad a little bit sloppy, losing both of his villagers. Pardon me, both of his explorers. I'm a little bit tired. Alright, baby, making a slow push. He's got a lot of units for sure, okay. 5 Ashikarus also shipped complete complete aggro, so he has to win a fight, and has to win a fight hard. Duolckrad just has to focus on getting units out and not losing a fight hard, which really shouldn't be too hard to do. I mean, look at, oh my god, these Naganata just melting. Oh, just melting away. Now more Ashigaru reinforcing, and it's really not the worst fight. It's not great either for Duolckrad, but it's pretty dang good. I shouldn't have spoke too soon. That's a really good fight for Duolckrad, and I don't know what much else there is for Crybaby to do. You know, not only is he behind almost 10 villages now in economy, but he lost the fight that he was supposed to win. His strategy necessitated him winning this fight. And now that he's lost it, I mean, he's gonna run out of steam. Now, okay, it's starting to even out and look okay for Crybaby, but I don't think it's gonna last for very long. Both players at equal military unit populations, but Duolckrad 10 villages ahead. Oh, 5 villages again. This would have been okay if Crybaby had won the fight, but he didn't. So, I mean, he may stay alive for a little bit longer, but for how long? For how long can he get away with this? He's down in score, almost 10 points, behind in villager count by 10. And even though he's ahead in military count by 10. Oh lordy. So we do see Crybaby holding on for dear life. Continuing on with a morsel of hope. Actually taking a pretty good engagement right here. Still behind by most measures. But unfortunately it's starting to even out in terms of military unit population yet again, and so that small glimpse of an advantage we saw for Crybaby. Ooh, I don't know. I do fear that this game will continue on at a plodding pace. Crybaby trying to eke out an advantage in some way, but just don't know how he could possibly do it. I think the barracks just now coming down, so he was only training Naganata from home. Everything else was being trained from the daimyo. But at this stage, I'm not sure really what Crybaby could do. And now he might send 600 coin. I'm looking at his distribution. Try to go up to the next stage. Perhaps. Duolckrad, on the other hand, he has a pretty convincing mass Ashigaru. And now pushing out. Not even gonna ignore that shrine that was in his path. And just barrel on towards Crybaby's base. He knows he has the advantage. 20 score advantage at this point. He's not going to waste a single moment. Crybaby, on the other hand, I think he's really waiting for that shipment, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, yeah, there you go. Popping out at the daimyo as well. But lo and behold, the counter push from Duolckrad has arrived. And oh no, it's such an awkward position. And even once he has all the resources necessary to go up, he's going to have units in his base, and he's not going to be able to get up to age 3 soon enough, and now losing the villagers. Oh, the wonder. The wonder. Oh, pardon me. Oh my gosh. Wonder now. Oh, struggling to be placed. Not being placed. But I'm nervous, man. I don't know. 40 score behind. The gap lengthening, widening, getting bigger and bigger. Crybaby's days do seem numbered. It may be his exit from the tournament, you know, with such a convincing game one. Heartbreak on the line for both players. Crybaby looking for a breakout performance. Duolckrad looking not to look like a complete washed up loser. I feel at this point that the fates are sealed. Fortunately, Crybaby almost up to the Fortress Age, but for what? But for what? 6 Yumis will pop out, but will he be able to upgrade them to the veteran status? Will he be able to train more units? Will he even be able to ship them? Now fighting valiantly, this massive Yumi archers. Warding off the green pressure. Duolckrad in the back of it, continuing to mass himself. Now, eliminating the map of the pink shrines as well. Training some Yumi archers, mixing in something to give him a compositional edge. I wonder, Duolckrad, considering going up to the next stage? Languishing. The green player. Pink, on the other hand. Both players forced to send cherry orchards. Crybaby constructing a market, one that he lost. Still has a barracks and, fortunately, disciplined Yumi. A down 70 score. Consulate in construction with 10 villagers constructing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's caster math, baby. Duolckrad picking up the possible remnants of Shangri-La worth 475 food. Ben K and his downed partner, Ichirai Hoshi. Crybaby on the move to pick up Sasuke. To the next stage, Duolckrad. Lack a lad. Pushing out by the cliff. The Yumi arrows whiff. Crybaby low in score. How much longer can he go for? Oh boy. And now we see a warrior meeting his death, Daimyo Motsutada, taken down. His troops valiantly fighting against the green mass. Juchi called. And that sees duolckrad move on to the round of 32.